So in the left corner, we have the People's Champion, the Amazon 4K Firestick, tried and tested, extremely popular, one of my all-time favorite devices that I can easily recommend without really any hesitation. And in the right corner, we have the newcomer, the brand new Chromecast with Google TV, currently one of my favorite Android TV devices, very similar price point to the 4K Firestick. So really, which one to go for? Well, in this video today, let's put both these devices head to head. I'm not really going to look at the specifications or the benchmarks, but what I really want to focus on is those real world usage tests. So things like opening up your favorite applications, looking at the Wi-Fi speeds, looking at the Ethernet speeds, streaming content, local content, even a bit of gaming, the kind of stuff that you want to do on a day-to-day basis. Then hopefully by the end of this video, you guys can decide which of these devices is better for you. So do take a moment to hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So with all of that being said, let's get started. If you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with the latest tech tutorials, the latest Firestick, Android and Android TV tips and tricks, then please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's a small click from you, but it makes a big difference to me. Thank you. So Ethernet speed tests on both these devices. Now, as you guys know, none of these actually come with a hard Ethernet port. So for the 4K Firestick, I'm using an OTG cable plugged into a gigabit USB hub from Ugreen. And on the Chromecast, I'm using a Type-C USB hub, which also has gigabit Ethernet. So let's start with the Firestick. Okay, so we're getting actually very close to 300 megabit downstream. Okay, so test number one, we have 255 megabit downstream. Now, in case you're wondering why I'm not doing these tests at the same time, both these devices are plugged into the same router, so just to ensure that there's no contention issues, I will be testing them one at a time. So test number one on the 4K Firestick, we have 255 meg downstream. Let's do test number two. Okay, so test number two, we have 269 meg. Okay, so test number two, we have 269 meg downstream. And the final test. And test number three, we have 232 meg downstream. So a little bit slower, but really, if you can get more than 100 meg on a wired connection, and as you guys know, a wired connection is always more stable, more reliable than a Wi-Fi connection, and anything over 100 meg is more than enough even for 8K streaming. Okay, so last test was 232 meg downstream. Let's jump over to the Chromecast. Okay, it's actually very similar. So test number one on the Chromecast, we had 263 meg downstream, and let's do test number two. So test number two, we have 247 meg down, and the final test. So really not much in it at all, guys. So very, very similar speeds. It's not like one was like 100 and one is like 250. So very, very similar. Around about I think low end is around about 230 and high end is about 270. So that's the Ethernet speed test. Let's now jump over to 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Okay, so test number one, 4K Firestick, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. We're getting just over 300 meg downstream. Let's do test number two. Okay, so we can see comfortably that both tests so far are pushing over 300 meg downstream. Okay, that's actually 317. That's a very good speed there. I mean, my native speed's around about 350 meg. And let's now do the final test. And in the final test, we had 242 meg downstream on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Let's try that on Chromecast now. Now, if I remember correctly, this actually had very good speeds on 5 gigahertz. Okay, so it's already gone over 320 meg. Okay, so test number one on the Chromecast, we have 324 meg downstream. Let's do test number two. Okay, so test number two is 318 meg down. And let's do the final test. And let's see if this device can actually get over 300 meg in all three tests. So let's do that now. And in the final test, wow, we actually have over 350 meg. So you could say in terms of 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, you will get higher speeds using the Chromecast with Google TV versus the 4K Firestick, whereas in an Ethernet test, the speeds were very similar. Okay, so that's the Wi-Fi and Ethernet speed tests out the way. Let's now go to some application launching. Okay, so first up we have the K application, a very popular application. Lots of you use it with third-party add-ons or maybe different builds. I personally just use it as a media player to play content from my NAS drive. So let's see now of these two devices, which one actually opens it first. And just to confirm that both these were force stopped, so they're not running in the background. Okay, so test number one. So do 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so the Chromecast is a little bit faster. We're talking about just a second or so. Let's just do an exit. So here's test number 2. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, it does seem like the Chromecast, just around about a second, is consistently faster. Let's do a final test. Let me just do a full stop now. So full stop on the Chromecast. Yep. And full stop on the 4K Firestick. So both are definitely stopped. And for the final test, let's just see which one opens first. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so consistently we can say that the Chromecast launches about a second and a half faster than the 4K Firestick. Let's back out of that. Next up we have Netflix, a very popular application. Let's see which starts first. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Firestick actually showed the logo first. And this is when they start spinning when they try and retrieve the profiles. Okay, so very close. So even though that the Firestick showed the logo first, it was actually the Chromecast which showed us the profiles first. So let's back out of that. And let's just launch it from here. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so Firestick always shows the logo first, but when it comes to actually loading the profiles, let's see if once again the Chromecast wins. And it does. Just by a second, but it is consistently winning there. Okay, let's go and do that final test. Okay, let's do a full stop again. And let's now do the final test and see if the Chromecast wins again. So 3, 2, 1, go. And let's see again, Firestick shows the logo first. And do we have a clear winner? 3 out of 3. We can say yes, we do. So only by a split second, guys. I mean, we're not talking about night and day difference, but I can comfortably say that the Chromecast does win in the Netflix launch test. Okay, let's back out of that. Next up, we have a third-party application. Both are the same version. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so the Firestick was a tad faster there. Okay, let's test number 1. And let's back out of that. Click on yes. Okay, so test number 2. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so the Firestick is definitely loading those thumbnails a little bit quicker. Maybe a split second there. And the final test, I can confirm that the Firestick is maybe half a second faster at loading this application and showing those thumbnails. So that's a third-party application. Let's back out of that. So both devices connected to the exact same VPN server in London. Now this test is quite interesting because, in case you guys didn't know, when you activate the VPN on your device, it's your actual device that's encrypting the traffic, it's creating that secure tunnel, it's encapsulating those packets. So all of that workload has to be done by your device. So if your device is underpowered, if it's lacking CPU, lacking RAM, then that would greatly affect your VPN speed. So let's have a look and see, when we enable the VPN, how that impacts the speed on both these devices. So let me press the home key and let's try the 4K Firestick first. Okay, so with the VPN enabled on the 4K Firestick, we're getting around about 92 meg downstream. And you can just see the guys on the chart that even that is more than enough for 8K streaming. So that's test number 1. Okay, so test number 2, with the VPN on, we're getting 109 meg downstream. Let's do the final test. And in the final test, we have 118 meg on the 4K Firestick when connected to a VPN server. Let's jump over to the Chromecast. Okay, so test number 1 on the Chromecast, we have 65 meg downstream. Let's do test number 2. Test number 2, we have 67 meg. And the final test, we have 63 meg downstream on the Chromecast. So very interesting actually. So if I go back to the 4K Firestick, it's still on the VPN. Just to confirm that, yeah, I mean, it's not a lot more, but consistently we could say that the 4K Firestick, when connected to a VPN server, to the same VPN server, does seem to yield slightly better speeds on the VPN speed test. Let's back out of that. Next up, let's try some voice tests. So YouTube is not running in the background. Let me do this. Play Tech Doctor on YouTube. Okay, so I had to click on play this video, but we can see definitely that launched the same video first. Now, in case you're wondering, guys, why is there a difference in picture quality? That's purely to do with the HDMI splitter I'm using and also the capture card, just so I can capture both these input devices at the same time. Let's back out of that. So I was definitely a little bit faster on the 4K Firestick. Yeah, so let's actually leave these running in the background. Let me press the home key. Play Infinity War trailer on YouTube. Okay, so again, yep, YouTube launches first. It prompts you, do you want to play? And launches directly into that trailer. And I'll say the Chromecast is about 2 or 3 seconds behind. Okay, let's back out of that. So YouTube is still running. Press the home key. Play Thor Ragnarok trailer on YouTube. And just to confirm, 4K Firestick should be first. It is. I can click on that and we're inside the trailer. And a second or so after, we are watching it on the Chromecast. So very, very similar. But I would say that the 4K Firestick does have the edge when using your voice and launching videos automatically. Let's back out of that. And in the gaming test, because the Chromecast has that Vulkan support, so games that can take advantage of it, like this PSP emulator, is just night and day difference in terms of the performance you can get on the Chromecast versus what you see on the Firestick. I mean, if I just try and accelerate now at the same time, I mean, you can see the difference there, guys. I mean, one is completely stuttering and one is actually fairly playable. Okay, so wrapping this up, what are my closing thoughts on these two fantastic devices? And I will just say one more time that I will happily recommend any of these devices to anybody without hesitation. As we saw with some of those real life usage tests, that both devices do perform very, very similar. Maybe there's a slight edge on the Wi-Fi and the Ethernet speeds on the Chromecast, whereas the Firestick seems to have a slight edge when you enable the VPN. Now we can see in the graphics department, especially when you factor in the Vulkan support, that the Chromecast completely annihilates the 4K Firestick. I would say that the Firestick seems to excel better in the home automation, the voice control, the integration with other smart appliances. They do seem to have an edge over the Google equivalent. Now, from a streaming point of view, I would say probably the biggest benefit of the Chromecast with Google TV is that we have that built-in USB storage support. So, as you guys know, if you followed my tutorials, you can expand the storage of the 4K Firestick by entering in some ADB commands, doing some stuff manually, and that will then allow you to install applications to that USB drive. But for example, if you want to move applications, you have to go back to ADB. If you want to see your free space, you have to go back to ADB. Whereas all of that functionality, the installing applications, the moving applications, the checking free space, all of that functionality is built in to Android TV. So from that point of view, it is so much easier to manage your USB storage on the Chromecast versus the Firestick. But either way, both are fantastic devices, and I'm sure you'll be happy with whichever one you go for. So that's all for this video, guys. Many thanks for watching. If you leave the comment that the Firestick needs more storage, then I know you made it this far in the video, which I really appreciate, and I will heart that comment. So if you did find this video useful, then do give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more stuff like this, then please do subscribe and hit the notification bell. As always, I always appreciate your likes, your shares, your comments. So do let me know what you think. Leave me a comment below, and I'll hopefully catch up with you guys real soon. Thanks.